We've got an Emu mirror match in the top 4 of the Aichi championships. Even though Ace took up 25% of the overall meta, only had 4 make top 16, Emu 7 and was 18% of the meta. So even though the majority of Ace, Emu riding out on top. Listen, if you're itching for a brand new playmat, now is the time to check out Nengarden, the sponsor of this video. Not only do they have brand new pre-orders up on their website for Chaos Crew, Green Fury, and the Absolute Ruler designs, which by the way, are phenomenal. But if you're a fan of Goldie Roger, Nengarden actually put out a new playmat called The Journey's End, showcasing Goldie Roger himself, and you yourself can find his one piece with the possibility of a 1 in 20 chance to get the special wanted playmat. And on top of that, if you're like me and you absolutely prefer cloth mats, Nengarden has officially posted on their site cloth mats for Green Fury, Absolute Ruler, Berserk, and Journey's End. Plus, if you want a ton of other great accessories that aren't just playmats, they've got the King of Hearts t-shirt, matching pin, other pins alongside of it through the whole cake island, and even stickers. Make sure with whatever you want in Nengarden, use my code Atrocious for 8% off. The link to their website is in the description below. Thank you so much for Nengarden for sponsoring the video, and let's get back to that video. So player on the left side, we see a Saturn in his hand as well as Nasjuro, Marcus Mars, I believe that is, in the very middle. You've got the Equilibrium event and a Charlos. This 2-cost blocker is a tech card that we see some people run. It's becoming more and more frequent, I would say, but definitely a good one, especially with the on-play effect. A searchable 2-cost blocker from the deck. We see the player on the right side also having one of those Charlos as well, but has 2 War Curies still getting adjusted to the alternate arts. The 2 War Curie blockers is not movement. The player on the right side not having movement at all did get the going second, does not have any searchers to start out the game like the player on the left side does. So we're going to see how these players approach the mirror match, especially with the Mary Goyce stages to start. We're going to see a leader effect of the Equilibrium event, especially because of the events, right? With the Mary Goyce and the 10-cost interaction, you're going to be able to not have any Dawn for your event cards. So event cards essentially dead when you get to the late stages of the game when you're playing the 10-cost. And so players mirroring each other, milling a 10-cost Elder, not what you want to see. Ends up pitching the Marcus Mars for leader effect to get a Shirahoshi. Passes off the turn to the player on the left side. Player on the left side now going to 3. Is going to be able to play that Saturn or the 1-cost event if they want to. Going to be curious to see which one they decide to do. And it looks like this 5K swing at lead, taking the life on the right side, is going to be a search event. You'll love to see that. Empty throne. We see the Navy event that Guan Rong was using, former world champion, be able plus 2K power and then get a card from the trash that costs, I think, 3 or less, which is almost always Shirahoshi 2K, and a very interesting tech card. The player on the left side playing the Saturn is going to go in and just grab another Saturn, right? Saturn being able to find another Saturn is just going to be nice to be able to continue searching, right? Find your different 5 Elders to be able to get your combos off later in the game. Now the player on the right side at 4 Dawn is going to go ahead with the 5K swing and taking the life. No trigger, but a 2K Shirahoshi is always nice. So leader effect pitching away the Equilibrium. Still no Saturns as of yet, no searches. But 4-3 is going to be able to get at least a War Curie out to be able to get that block and draw 1 card potentially. Only 6 cards in the hand for this Emu player on the right side. And with the Shirahoshi, is just going to pass off the turn. If the player on the left side right now did have a Marcus Mars, could be able to remove the War Curie, right? Because there's not 7 cards in trash for the Emu, the War Curie, not getting the protection effect right now. Does have that Marcus Mars, but what do you pitch is the real question. Is it just more valuable to go in with the searchers of the event and the Saturn, and is at least going to use leader effect to start out, also having that 1-cost Navy event. And so now swings 5,000 power with the Saturn at lead, tries to see what the Emu is going to do, is going to go ahead, take that life. Now the leader swing coming in, probably going to go in and play Saturn at this point. So I think you would use Marcus Mars before swinging. So the Shalria coming on now is going to continue to mill through the deck, find that top 3, finds a Jupiter and a Nazajuro, ends up grabbing the Jupiter and trashing the Marcus Mars in hand. I think only missing a Warcury blocker now at this point, player on the left side, to be able to get all 5 Elders for the 10 cost. So ends up finding a Warcury on that top 5. Probably going to be his choice, I would think. Is maybe thinking about an Equilibrium event, or It Was Never There event. So the GARP event, Grim, for anyone who doesn't know, that GARP event is a 1-cost event that gives plus 2,000 power. And then I think it's you can grab a 3-cost or less from your trash to put in your hand. So a lot of times it is a way to be another plus 4,000, right? Because your Shirahoshi is a cost 3 or less. You can use that event to grab Shirahoshi, and you're still in the counter phase, so you can pitch the card that you get off of there. And so ends up grabbing that Warcury, like I mentioned, and passing off the turn to the Emu on his 6 Dawn turn. Still does not have any searches in there. Uses leader effect to pitch the Jupiter. Finds a 2-cost Majo's Guard, I think is how you pronounce it, or something of the sort. And so on the first swing, ends up countering out with the Warcury. Now the Warcury swing coming in. Swinging in with the Warcury, getting aggressive. The Emu on the left side, 1 Dawn open if he has a counter event. Could utilize Majo's Guard. Is that how you say it? Ends up using 2K Shirahoshi, and with the Marigois gets the Nazajuro and swings at the Saturn. Nazajuro, a very good card within the mirror match, right? To be able to control the board. Ends up having that rush if you fulfill that condition, but actually doesn't minus 2,000, I don't think, because you don't have 10 cards in trash up to this point. So is going to utilize that Navy event, plus 2,000 power, grab the Shirahoshi back in hand to be able to get out of that swing. And the player on the right side passing off the turn. Now over here on the left side, we see a 1-cost event. Could be nice to just continue once again. More searching after these swings. Is going to start out using leader effect on the Shalria. Finds a 1-cost Equilibrium event. Could be nice to have, right, because you're not going in your 10 costs as of yet. I think the player on the left side here does have 10 cards in trash to get that minus 2,000 power condition on the when attacking. We'll see on this counter if he decides to counter. And so is just going to let that go. More than likely, I think, having 10. It was a little hard based on how he was fanning it, but it's either 9 or 10. So now with the leader going ahead and swinging, Warcury in the trash, another 5,000 power swing. And this is the thing about Emu, right? Especially in this early game before you guys are dropping 10 drops, if you can keep your bodies on the field and just constantly swing, constantly apply pressure, it'll be so good within the game. Finds a couple Marcus Mars. One thing that we haven't seen for this player on the left, though, is they have not really found the 10 drops as of yet. Have we seen a 10 drop? I don't even know if we've seen a 10 drop on the Saturn swing. And so now going to 8 for the player on the right side. Player on the right side has a Jupiter in the hand and some counter events. Cannot play the 10 cost Elder as of yet. So ends up paying the 6 for the Jupiter. Now going to be a 7,000 power swing, right? Because the player on the right side has 10 or more cards in the trash. So the 7,000 power swing, going to be nice to potentially get rid of some of these bodies on the field, but is going to go ahead with that block. That's exactly why you love these little 2-drop blockers on the field. Builds up the trash, allows you in these situations to keep your bodies on the field. So the 5K swing now coming in at probably the Nazujuro, if I had to take a guess. So thinking about pitching the Shirahoshi is going to go exactly with that. Passes off the turn. Now going into 9 on the left side. He ended up drawing. He drew a 10 cost Elder for the turn. Could do a situation to where you play the 10 cost Elder now. Might just be more valuable, though, to use Jupiter. Be able to make all of these different guys 7,000 power base. And then use the rest of your Dawn for your counter events, right? To be able to guard against some of the swings coming in. Could be able to utilize some of the extra Dawn for your swings to hit better math. Ends up going with the Shalria first, so definitely not going with a 10 cost play. Ends up finding a War Curie, right? You don't want to grab the empty throne. So ends up using Jupiter. Jupiter going in and now going to draw 1 card off of leader effect, getting the Shalria off the field. It's thinking about just swinging 5. Does not want to attach 1 Dawn to swing 6 just in case of something like a 2K or maybe one of these events. At this point, just swing the base amount of powers, right? Just to force these cards out of hand. So there's the Equilibrium event. As an 8 at lead. The World Was Never There off of that last Saturn swing, passing off the turn. Only 4 cards in hand. It is definitely early, that's for sure. The Jupiter being 7,000 power, right, because does boost himself. Now going in at a swing. Does use the It Was Never There to be able to get out of the attack. Still has counter in hand, but with the 9 coming in with the 10 drop and using the final Dawn and trashing the Saturn to be able to utilize that 10 cost Elder effect is going to be able to get the 5 on the field. Is going to be Nazujuro, War Curie, Jupiter, Mars, and Saturn. So now on the search, finds another It Was Never There event. Ends up grabbing it. Maybe as a perfect candidate for leader effect. And the Nazujuro going in with a swing. Definitely want to swing the Nazujuro first, right? Especially because it'll be easier to get rid of characters, right? With the minusing power. Ends up now swinging 5. I think what they usually do, right, when they swing at these characters, they minus 2,000 power 1, but swing at a different, right? Because all the elders, even with Jupiter on the defensive side, go back down to 5,000 power base. You end up putting 2 swings that are a 2,000 power difference to be able to match. Sakazuki is a black deck. It's blue-black. Unless I missed something earlier. Ends up going 2K, 1K to get out of the swing and keep the Nazujuro alive. So we see the draw for turn. Has the 10 cost Elder in hand. Is thinking of maybe attaching Dawn, but ends up not going with it. Ends up swinging at life. Is going to take it. 5 cards in hand. Another 7,000 power at lead. You can expect after this 3 more swings. So he's going to get the block on the War Curie. The draw 1. Has plenty of cards in hand. The Saturn leader effect. Draw 1 card. Trashing it. Gets the It Was Never There event. Probably the candidate of the 10 cost. So now swinging 5,000 power at the Nazujuro. Gets rid of it. The Jupiter swinging 7 now. Is going to force cards out of hand. 1K, 1K, 1K. And so now with the 10 cost Elder, gets the different Elders on the field, still sitting at 3 life. There is a situation where you could be in a little bit of trouble, but especially with the Saturn search, might be sitting in a pretty good spot to be able to get lethal in the next turn. So ends up finding a 2K Jupiter. You'll love that if they decide to go all in. And now the Nazujuro going in taking a 7,000 power swing. Can't counter out of it, so using the Marcus Mars so you don't lose. Think player on the left side right now. Looking pretty good. We saw the impact of the searches in the beginning of the game was night and day in comparison to the player on the right side. It ended up playing a big factor, even though player on the right side having the even curve. So now 7,000 power with the Saturn is going ahead at the Nuzjuro, is going to get the KO. 7,000 power now at lead. Takes the first life. Uses leader effect to draw one card. Not a counter, just a counter event that you can't utilize. And so these counter events now stacking up in the hand. Is going to pitch one of those. It was never there. Counter events to get the cycle yet again. We'll see the Saturn draw. Is going to look for something like a 2K. Finds a 1K in Nuzjuro. No 2Ks in the hand. Only 3K counter in total. The leader Imu swing. It's either 6,000 power or 5,000 power. I'm not sure how many cards he has in trash. But with the 1K, probably just a 5K swing. The Nuzjuro getting in. And now the Imu's turn. The Imu now with 5 different swings. I don't think has another Nuzjuro in the hand. Yeah, it just has 2 Jupiters, a Shirahoshi, and an event. So has only 5 swings to go. You know at least one of the cards in his hand as it was searched off of the Saturn. So got to think about the different math. Pretty good odds, especially as earlier he pitched 3 1Ks. You still got to be careful. I know, AJ, it was crazy. We had such a cool top 16, and then all of a sudden, it was just top 4 Imu. But still some things you can learn. So 9,000 power swing to start. Ends up with a block and draw. 9,000 power swing with the block. Once again, a 5,000 power swing just counters out of a 1K. 7,000 power swing, 2-1, and the rest on Marcus Mars. The player on the left side advancing into this final. We know that it's going to be a Imu mirror final. And even though being on the odd curve, coming up in the favor in this one. And so we'll see, can Imu actually win, or do both Imus lose in the finals chat?